This episode is brought to you by Patriot Gold Group. Protect your retirement assets and protect your future. Speak with the experts at Patriot Gold. As they say, they're patriots protecting patriots. And they've been the top-rated gold IRA dealer for 7 years in a row. That's 7 years in a row. In troubled economic times like we're currently experiencing, do yourself a favor. Go to patriotgoldgroup.com or call 1-888-621-3856 for a free investor guide. It's Wednesday, 7 August. Welcome to the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. Let's get briefed. First, we're beginning to learn more about how Israeli intelligence managed to infiltrate Iranian security and pull off the assassination of Hamas's political chief inside Tehran last week. And the revelations, well, they're proving to be a major embarrassment for the Iranian regime. Also, in a major development out of the war in Ukraine, Kyiv's forces have flipped the script on the Kremlin and launched a surprise invasion of the Kursk region, their largest incursion into Russian territory in more than 2 years of fighting. But first, our afternoon spotlight. Let's start with an update on our coverage of the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh last week in Tehran, which has exposed some embarrassing security vulnerabilities within Iran's intelligence apparatus. The Telegraph has exclusively learned that Israel's elite intelligence agency, Mossad, managed to infiltrate a unit of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, ultimately paying Iranian security agents to plant sophisticated explosive devices in 3 separate rooms at the government guest house where Haniyeh was staying. This comes in the wake of a report last week from the New York Times that revealed the explosive devices had been covertly smuggled into the Tehran guest house roughly 2 months ago. Mossad originally planned to assassinate the Hamas leader in May, when he was in Tehran for the funeral of former Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, but the plans were reportedly scrapped due to the large crowds inside the building where Haniyeh was staying and concerns there was a high risk the operation could fail. 2 Iranian officials told the Telegraph that instead, Mossad hired agents from the Ansar al-Mahdi Protection Unit, a division of the IRGC, responsible for the safety of high-ranking officials, to target Haniyeh while he was visiting Tehran for the inauguration of Iran's new president. According to the officials who have viewed CCTV footage from the guest house, 2 Iranian agents were seen stealthily entering and exiting multiple rooms in the facility as they planted 3 separate explosive devices. The unnamed officials told the Telegraph that the agents subsequently slipped out of the country, but maintained contact with a source inside Tehran. At 2 a.m. last Wednesday, after confirming that Haniyeh was in the room, one of the explosives was detonated remotely from abroad, killing Haniyeh and his bodyguard. We should note, these details remain unclear, as other reports have said Mossad assets had detonated the explosives from Iranian soil. Regardless, the incident is a major embarrassment for Iran, as the very unit that was responsible for protecting Haniyeh ultimately led to his demise. An official within the IRGC told the Telegraph, quote, "This is a humiliation for Iran and a huge security breach," end quote. Well, that's not an understatement. During their investigation, the IRGC reportedly found 2 undetonated explosive devices in 2 other rooms at the guest house. Externally, Iran is attempting to downplay the security failure and has established a working group, isn't that nice, a task force, to change the narrative. We can only assume that that's why Iran tried to claim over this past weekend that Haniyeh was in fact killed by a short-range projectile instead of a bomb. The blame game and paranoia has started as concerns mount that Iranian leaders and allies are far more vulnerable to Israeli attacks than previously thought. One official said the commander of the IRGC Quds Force has been summoning people to be fired and arrested. Others could be executed. The official added, quote, "The breach has humiliated everyone." Now, this may explain why the expected Iranian retaliation against Israel has not yet started. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reportedly prioritized addressing the security breach over launching their retaliatory attack. As we noted, the attack has raised serious questions for the regime regarding Israel's reach and influence within Iran. But Iran maintains that the retaliation is coming, though as we discussed this morning on the PDB, the latest U.S. intelligence assessment suggests that Iran and their Lebanese proxy Hezbollah are still in the planning phase. Coming up after the break, in a major development out of the war in Ukraine, Kyiv's forces have flipped the script on the Kremlin and launched a surprise invasion of the Kursk region. We'll have the details when we return. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. Ukraine turned the tables on Russia this week, launching a surprise invasion of the Kursk region, deploying troops and armored vehicles in what appears to be one of the largest incursions into Russia since the war began over 2 years ago. While the conflict between Ukraine and Russia has seen numerous cross-border skirmishes, direct ground attacks by Ukrainian forces into Russian territory are relatively rare. Previous incursions were primarily carried out by armed groups of Russian exiles with support from Kyiv. This latest assault, however, seems to involve regular Ukrainian military units, marking a significant escalation in the conflict. The region has experienced sporadic shelling and bombings, but large-scale ground offensives have been unusual. Acting governor of Kursk Oblast, Alexei Smirnov, reported the incursion about 6 miles deep into Russian territory on Tuesday. Russia's Ministry of Defense noted that the cross-border incursion involved up to 300 Ukrainian troops from the 22nd Mechanized Brigade, supported by over 20 tanks and armored fighting vehicles. Verified videos show Ukrainian armored vehicles being struck several miles inside Russia by airstrikes, missile forces, and artillery fire. Pro-Kremlin military bloggers report that Ukrainian troops captured several settlements near the border, although these claims remain unverified. On Wednesday, Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed to have prevented Ukrainian forces from advancing deeper into the Kursk, reporting 260 Ukrainian troops were killed. Of course, any statements or statistics from the Russian Ministry of Defense should be taken with a grain of salt. And in fact, casualty figures and damage assessments from both sides of this conflict have proven to be unreliable. The assault has led to civilian casualties, with 5 reported dead and 24 injured due to Ukrainian shelling. Kyiv has yet to officially comment. A Ukrainian military officer suggested on the Nexta Telegram channel that the attack was preventative, citing the presence of an estimated 75,000 Russian troops near the border as a potential threat. Russia has sent reserves to bolster its defenses. Russian President Putin has announced plans to meet with security services to coordinate a military response, assist resident evacuations, and establish blood donations. This rapid, unprecedented cross-border incursion from Ukrainian troops has raised questions about Kyiv's objectives. Some analysts suggest it might be an attempt to divert Russian attention from the Eastern Front or to generate positive news for Ukraine. Military observers, including Matthew Ford of the Swedish Defense University, have expressed concern that this cross-border incursion could thin out Ukrainian defenses and argue that the strategy might be ineffective due to Russia's ample reserves. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Wednesday, 7 August. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. Now, if you're jonesing for an ad-free experience, well, it's simple. Become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. I'm Mike Baker. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool.